What's up, YouTube? So we are looking at a Trane 10.5 16 SEER finished third floor space of a 2-story house, and it's a 2019, so it's 6 years old. First of all, be aware, update on the YouTube channel coming at some point. Nothing major, probably a handle change and some of the aesthetics and visuals, banner, things like that. Just gonna freshen it up a little bit, update it. I'm gonna keep the same channel name for now. Probably will always keep that just because I'm locked into it. But anyway, I was just looking at some things and I thought, well, need to freshen this up, change the look just a little bit, so keep that in mind. You may see a few changes, but it'll still have the same name. Anyway, tech was out here looking at the system about 2 weeks ago. It was tripping low pressure, he said, in heat mode, and said it was low on charge. Went through it, tried to find a leak, could not find one. So I am back today to double check the unit, seeing how it's running, check the charge on it. I think we added some refrigerant to it, and we're just coming back to recheck and possibly do a leak search. He couldn't find the leak between here or the indoor coil, so that's what I'm here to do. Alright, so I've got the probes hooked up to it. I've got the disconnect off. I did turn the thermostat on in the house and turn the power off out here temporarily. That didn't sound good. Let's see what kind of pressures we're getting on this thing. Alright, right now we're at about a 85, 70, well now it's going down to 78. We'll let it run a minute, let these pressures stabilize, see where we're at. So I want to run this thing in a defrost real quick. It's typically the best time to check a charge, in my opinion. In heat mode on a heat pump is after you run it through a defrost. Do that real quick, then we're going to let it run and stabilize again. I just want to get that coil warmed up, any moisture off of it, and just kind of just the way I do things. I typically will, when I'm checking a charge on one, I want to run it in defrost, then let it stabilize after that, and then check my charge. Let's see how long it goes through the defrost cycle. See how long it takes to warm this thing up. A lot of times that's an indicator. Oh, it just clicked out. Fan came back on. And we should be getting a shift on our reversing valve here shortly. Back over to heating. There we go. Now I'm going to let it run a few minutes to stabilize. Caps are tight on it. These things leak 90% of the time. That's why you gotta lock these flare nut caps on these. These don't have O-rings, so you gotta kind of hand tighten it and then give it just a little bit of a snug with an adjustable wrench just to get it to seal. These caps have O-rings in them. They were on there tight. I didn't check to see if they were leaking before I hooked up to the unit, but it is what it is. I may put a gauge on there and check that when I do the leak search. So we've been running about 10 minutes now. We're running about a 97 and a 285. I did hook up to my true suction, superheat. Running about 19 degrees on the outdoor unit. That's not horrible. according to the charging chart for this unit, we should be running about a 110, maybe a 310, 305, 315, somewhere in there. So we're not far off. The unit's 6 years old. I don't know how many times gauges have been hooked up to this thing, how much has been taken out over doing maintenance for 6 years. That's a possibility. I'm going to sniff around the evaporator coil. I'm not seeing any oil anywhere out here. I'm getting a little bit of frosting on the coil. It's 48 degrees outside actually right now. So that one's starting to thaw back out a little bit. So I'm not getting any frosting across the TXV, so I don't think that's a problem. So I'm going to sniff around the evaporator coil a little bit, see if I can find something. And if I don't, I'm probably just going to top the charge off. And we were here doing her heat check actually, so we'll probably top it off and then we'll reevaluate the charge when we come back and check the cooling. But I'm going to run up there, let's sniff the evaporator coil a little bit and see if we can pick up anything up there. Okay. So we got a GAF air handler, a GAF. Let that warm up while I'm getting the door off. I really don't like these little tiny cramped ass air handlers. These things, Trane could have done better. Could have done better on a lot of things actually. These are really tight, cramped. Air handlers. You see that mess? Half the coil is back over here, so you got to take this mess off. So this is one of the stupidest designed air handlers I've ever seen in my life. So you can't take this panel off without tearing the drain line apart, because they didn't put a little square there where you could just slide it up and out of the way. So just junk. But I'm gonna sniff around in there, see if I can find anything. If I can't, we're gonna get this thing charged up and we'll check it again when we come back and do the cool check. Alright, let's see what we can find. I'm not expecting to find anything. Maybe I will. So I've had the heat running, so the pressure should be built up pretty high in this coil. It's hot, so it should be leaking pretty good. But yeah, this is the craziest mess I've ever. The way this thing's designed, everything's packed in that little hole for your heat strips. Have fun changing those. I've done them a few times and they are not enjoyable. I'm working in a knee wall. I've already hit my head right there twice. least they were smart and they put a TXV in this one and not an EEV with all that other crap. Wish I had a piston in it. I ain't worried about efficiency, I'm worried about ease of repair. Pistons don't break, you just clean them and put them back in. Okay, I know it works. I don't think there's a leak in this coil. Yeah, I don't think that we've got a leak in this coil. This thing would have sniffed it out by now. That little bit of refrigerant that's lost out of this thing is very minimal. I think it's just from putting gauges on it twice a year. Because it's only a 1.5 ton unit. I mean, it's got a line set going to the basically what used to be the attic, and it's been finished in. That's why this unit was added. But here we are trying to get this door back in place. Mess. Anyway, I'm gonna get this back together. We're gonna go out and recharge this thing, and we'll come back and check it. All right, guys, so I'm back outside. What I'm gonna do is I'm going to just kind of top this thing off. I'm going to cut the leak search charge in half. I'm going to charge him for about a pound of refrigerant. We're going to recheck this thing when we come back and do the cool check. But I'm going to charge it up right there, and I'm going to replace the Schrader cores. I'm going to try using this field piece. I haven't used it yet. I've had it for 6 months and I hadn't used it yet. I've used my Yellow Jacket a few times. I haven't used this yet, so we're going to see how well it is. After I get it balanced, I'm going to replace the Schrader cores here and here. I don't want to do it before that. I want to wait and do it after I've disconnected from it. Put the new cores in, put the caps on, because I don't want to put new cores in and then put my hoses back on there and cause any problems. So I'm going to balance the charge on this thing, and then we're going to replace the Schrader cores, see how well this thing works. Alright, it's been on about 10 minutes. So what I use is my little charging tee here, Papillon. Just hook a hose straight to my tank, and then just use the ball valve. I'm gonna bleed the hose, get the air out of it. Then I'm gonna turn it back just a little bit and let it bleed while I hook it up. That way I know I didn't let any air in the system. And add just a little bit to it. I'm not going to have to add very much. I'm not weighing it in, I'm just going to do it by my pressures, because I'm probably not even going to use a full pound. So I'll probably charge him for the leak search and then just put the refrigerant in it and not charge him for that, since I'm not putting in very much. It'll balance out either way. We did a leak search, really didn't find anything. You don't really want to charge all of that, so I could cut that price in half and just charge for the refrigerant and then put the new cores in, or I could just charge for the leak search and let it cover everything. I'll figure that out on my end when I close up this call, but it's going to be one of those two options. So before we were running about a 95 and a 3, or actually a 295, right at 300. I wanted about a 110 and a 330 based on the chart, the outdoor temperature, indoor dry bulb. Get it right up about where that is and let it run for a few minutes. Yeah, just a hair more. And I'm putting in vapor, not liquid, because this is a direct shot to the compressor. Yeah, I know they say I'm always cautious about running liquid refrigerant straight to a compressor. If I'm over here charging, that's fine. Maybe it's going back through the, in heat mode, I just don't, I'm not comfortable shooting liquid refrigerant straight to a compressor, so I'll use vapor if I'm charging it just a little bit. The can's laying on its side, but it's only got about 3 pounds in it, so there's not any liquid up there where that valve is on it. Let that sit for a minute and then we'll change these cores. Alright, so I've got the charge balanced on it. I'm going to turn it off just so you can hear me a little better. So we're going to try this thing out. We're going to see how well it works. Getting that core out. Like I said, I haven't used this yet. It's got the sight glass on it. Let's see how well it works. Got my new core there. And there. On there. There we go. Alright. I'm snapped on it good and tight. And I'm going to back it out. And easy sliding it out. I want to loosen this just a little bit, because what happens if you over tighten that rubber O-ring will squeeze and close in that opening, and it'll catch the edge of the Schrader core and pull it off the end of your thing there. Didn't get it that time. Okay, heard it snap. There we go. Didn't get it that time either. Well, daggone. Let's tighten it back up. Snug it. Back it out. Huh. Didn't get it that time either. See what I'm looking at. Right there. We come out. No core. Snug that back down. Tighten it back up. Back that out. Close off the valve, and these things are supposed to be good. This is the first time I've used it. You know, I know the Appions are supposed to squeeze your tips together a little bit, but this one's supposed to do a better job. Huh. Looks like I could have spent that money. There we go. Push it on there. And then ease it back. There we go. I got it. Look right there. I don't know how well you can see it. But you'll see the... Let me turn it the other way where we can get some light on it. Maybe you can see. I don't know. There's the Schrader core coming out right there. Or did it leave it sitting right in the middle? No, I got it right there. Yeah, I know that's blurry, I think, but right there you can see that core coming out. So I got it that time. So maybe it's probably not any better than either of the other ones, but at least you can see whether you got it or not. And right there it is. At least you can see whether you got the thing and not unhook it and go to all that trouble to have to go back in there. Yeah, see, it was on there pretty tight. Maybe I didn't get snapped on there real good the first time. So, I mean, it probably works about as well as any of the other ones. It's just nice having that option of being able to see whether you actually have it or not go through all the trouble of pulling it out and valving it off and doing all that and then finding disappointment. You just go back in and go after it again. So anyway, guys, I'm gonna get the other one changed. Got him charged back up. We're gonna come back and do his cooling service probably in June or July, and we will reevaluate that refrigerant charge then. Appreciate you watching. Like, subscribe, and have a good one.